Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me for this acrylic painting tutorial. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to paint a seashell on the beach with a little wave action on there. It's going to be the second one in our seashell series. We did one very similar to this a couple months ago. I've got my husband Mark with me.
Hey there, everybody.
He's man in chat tonight, so if you've got questions while I'm painting this, you can ask them and I'll try to answer. Let's get started. Alrighty, so I'm going to be using a square canvas today. This is a 10 by 10 gallery profile canvas. A gallery just means that it's wrapped around the sides. It's not stapled on the sides, it's stapled on the back. This is from Fredrix, so thank you to them for providing our canvas today. This is the red label canvas, so this is more the economical line that they have. Our brushes are from Princeton, and we're going to be using just a variety of brushes. So you're going to want... we're going to kind of do it very similar to what we did with the last one, where I did it very kind of impressionist style. So you're going to want some sort of a kind of a stiffer bristle brush for that. It just kind of works better to push that paint around since I'm using heavy body acrylics. So I've got a 4 short filbert from the Aspen line, and then I've got the 3/8 inch and 1/4 inch blender from the VelvetTouch line. So those will be our main workhorses today. And then for our background, we're going to just want a large flat. So I've got a number 2 Aspen, and I've got a 12 bright in case. I'm not sure I'm going to need that one. And then I got a couple rounds just in case I need for some details. I think maybe some of the bubbles in the water, but I'm not really sure. I think I'm going to simplify that, so we'll just see. But these are the long-handled 6100 series, and I grabbed an angle brush, also just in case, 3/8 inch, and then a 2 filbert in the Aspen, and then the 4 filbert and a Deerfoot Stippler in the select line. So lots of different brushes here. I'm not sure, again, if I'm going to use them all, but we'll just have them just in case, and then a toothbrush to do some speckles, some splattering. All right, let's go over our colors. We've got... some flowers from our garden. These are my pretty cosmos. Aren't they beautiful? Got all kinds of different kinds. All right. Burnt Umber, burnt Sienna, Quinacridone burnt orange, yellow oxide, cadmium yellow medium, cobalt teal, phthalo blue light. And this is just white added to phthalo blue. It's a premixed color. This is phthalo blue green shade, ultramarine blue, Quinacridone magenta, unbleached titanium, titanium white, and a little bit of zinc white, which is just transparent white. And then this is my glazing liquid. So it's kind of hard to tell. There's 3 whites there. You may want to take a screenshot and mark them.
So for a video with absolutely no flowers in it anywhere,
I had to bring
we still have to have flowers.
Yeah, I had to bring
okay,
flowers
just checking.
No, I cut them today because they were so pretty. I mean, you gotta...
I'm glad I'm not pretty.
I got those, and then I got my zinnias are all blooming too. Really pretty, so all kinds of different colors with my zinnias. So we got some color in the studio today. Yes, like you said, no flowers in the actual painting, but plenty of flowers behind the scenes, as it should be. All right, let's get going here. I'm going to dip my large brush into water. I'm going to spray these too. Me too. My shirt just happened to match my nail polish. I did not mean to do that, but it worked out that way. Isn't that funny? I picked my nail polish to match my reference photo, and then I realized as I painted it that it was matching my shirt too. We're all matchy-matchy today. Okay, again, getting some white here. And just a tiny bit of, ooh, got some hair there. Tiny, tiny bit of pink, and I mean tiny, just the littlest bit there. A little bit goes a long way with the Quinacridone Magenta. It's very saturated, and so I want to use that for kind of my clouds up at the top here. And then as I go down, I'm going to add blue. So I'm going to grab the phthalo blue and the phthalo blue light and some cobalt teal. I'm going to mix that in, and while that white is wet, I'm just going to kind of blend it up into that. Start adding more of that cobalt teal and phthalo blue light shade as we come down. Okay, so right about there. That's going to be our sky. nothing really fancy. And literally the clouds are just going to kind of blend out like that. And then we can kind of drag across to indicate maybe some little lines of clouds through the background there. Maybe get a little bit of the darker color and do some of those through while it's wet. Super simple background. Go ahead and do the sides too while we're at it. Get some of this light color for the top. If I do it now, then I won't have to do it later. Okay, there we go.
And it'll match.
And it'll match, exactly. Okay, so there we go. There's our background. And then about a third of the way up or so, maybe a little bit higher than that, we're going to start our shoreline. I'm going to bring that blue up a little bit darker up higher because I'm going to cut most of this off that I've already just done. So I'm not going to draw it out right now super carefully. I'm just going to start adding my darker color down below. So I'm going to use the Phthalo blue with a little bit of burnt sienna, and I'm going to use the same area here. I haven't cleaned out my brush at all, so I've still got this same color. If you want to, you can wet down your canvas to help the paint absorb a little bit better. This sometimes helps. Kind of too late for me because I already started here. So, but you could do that if you want to. Not telling you what to do or anything, but you know.
You're not the boss of me.
Yeah, I got a weird comment today. It was like, every time I paint along with you, it looks the same. I was like, I thought that's, well, okay.
Is that the goal?
I don't know. I guess maybe not. I don't know. I just thought that was funny.
Well, I think that's a compliment.
But it is.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a compliment. But
So,
at the same time, I mean, if you are trying to develop your own style, then at some point you got to kind of start to deviate. So I get that too. If you're, trying to be independent, then,
it's just that you're better than all the other teachers out there.
Oh, really? Is that what they meant?
That's what I meant.
All right.
I mean, that's
Didn't
what
sound like it, but
that's what I intended.
That's your.
For it to mean.
Well,
I mean, that's I'm sure what they meant.
Okay. All right, added some yellow oxide to it down here at the bottom, just a little bit more green. And again, just trying to get it on pretty quickly here. We don't want to. This is just our undercoat, so it's not having to be perfect. We're going to be laying other colors on top, but go ahead and paint the sides too.
And I noticed when you unpacked that, it had those little wooden wedge things in there.
Right.
And give a shout out to Fredrix, our sponsor, because somebody had a Fredrix canvas. They got them and they didn't have those little wedge things.
Yeah.
And so they reached out to him. Fredrix immediately responded back and said, "We're shipping you some." So,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, that's really cool.
They're very good customer service. They're a, American-made company and small, they're small enough that they really do care about their customers and take care of them. I've been really happy having them as my sponsor, and man, their canvases are so nice to paint on. I mean, I used to use really cheap canvases, except for my the larger canvases. You can't really get the cheap canvases in the big sizes, so I would splurge on the bigger canvases and get decent ones. But man, it's so nice having these really nice canvases to paint on now. Okay, so it's supposed to get a little bit darker as it goes down. I didn't quite get it dark enough down here, but I'm going to leave that and give that to you, honey, to dry if you can really quick. Well, I didn't know for sure. I didn't have it drawn ahead of time, so we'll just do that. And I'm going to, while he's doing that, I'm going to wipe my thing off here so that we've got a clean spot, because we took up that whole palette here. This is a glass palette. All the materials that I use are down in the description. It's the most commonly used brushes. It's not exactly what brushes I use, but the paints are exactly what I'm using tonight. I just put down kind of my most common brushes, but you can find my brush list at the Brush Guys, and there's a link down there for 5% off coupon code Angela Fine Art if you buy from them. And then I've also got everything listed in my Amazon shop also. And then I've also got a Blick link. The only bad thing about the Blick link is that it has everything that Amazon has and has it for cheaper, but I don't have a list. It doesn't give me the option to list stuff. So if you want a list, you could go to Amazon and check that out and then look for them on the Blick site to get them a little cheaper. Workaround. All right, let me show you really quick what I worked on this weekend. So Sunday we worked on our bonus video. It's a special video that we do for our patrons of $5 and up. So they pay $5 a month to get access to. They get traceables, reference photos of the finished paintings and the one that I'm working with. And then they get a special bonus video once a month, plus the library of all the previous bonus videos from 2017 to the present. So several dozen bonus videos, full library of them. And this is the one that we worked on this week. Absolutely love the colors on this one. It's so much fun. So that was the $5 level video. And then last month, we just finished this month, June, we went into July for 2 weeks, because this one took us 5 weeks to do for the $10 level on Patreon. So that's kind of what I do. These longer videos that take a long time. This one was like over 10 hours. This one was about 5 hours. We do those for our patrons just because it doesn't really make sense to do them on YouTube. The edges are wet. Okay. I just don't have time or inclination to do them on YouTube. The longer videos just don't do well on YouTube, and yeah, can't. Okay. All right, let's get going here. Okay, what?
Okay, let's do this.
All right, so I'm going to get a ruler and figure out just where I want to have my horizon line. So I think I'm going to put it right about here, where kind of right above where I just did this. I'm actually going to go ahead and go right above it, somewhere in here. And there's actually that line of surf that's way out there. So I'm going to just do that. I'm going to dab in. Make sure you always do your horizon line on water straight. So use a ruler, please. It will it'll throw off your whole painting if you have a crooked horizon line when you do this kind of ocean type painting. All right, so let me get a little bit more water here, and I'm going to make kind of a green. So I'm going to get some Phthalo blue and Cobalt teal, which has phthalo green in it, and white, and then a little bit of yellow to make it more green. There we go. And then a little bit of the burnt umber and burnt sienna, And what the burnt sienna does is it kind of neutralizes it, so it's not such a bright color. You could use a little bit of yellow oxide instead of the cadmium yellow medium also to do that. So there we go. So we've got a kind of a darker, that's good. It's a little bit too dark. So back here, we're farther away. We're going to have a little bit more faded. So let's go ahead and tap some of that in. Yeah, that'll work. That should be just a little bit, maybe a little bit darker than our water color. And before I get too much farther, though, I'm going to go ahead and draw in my my seashell. And that way I kind of know where to put this stuff. So it's going right in this area. There's a little bit of an area of highlight, and then this see foam kind of comes up like this. So there's the bottom of the Seashell, comes up and down right there, and then goes off right about the third. So I need to bring that up just a little bit. And bring it up just a little bit more. So this edge kind of goes off to the third, and right about on the third here-ish, just on this side of the third, this part of the Seashell comes up. So this is where the opening starts, right here. It comes up like that. And then comes straight, and right about where this ends is where this curves down a little bit, and then back up. And then it's going to end up right about in here somewhere. Somewhere in there like that. And then, all right, then our wave is going to do like this. And it curves over like that. And then up top here, it's pretty close to the top here. I'm going to bring this up a little bit. I think it's farther up. We've got some waves happening right here that come down and off. All right, so right about in here, like that, and like that. And then curve it in, back up, curve it in, back up, in, they get closer together till that little point. And then you've got these lines that come down this way. And that tells you where to put these ones. Like that. Little bumps. It's hard to do with this chalk, kind of not getting a lot of detail in there, but somewhere like that. This wave is coming up over it like this. Okay, and so all of our foam that's coming off of this is going to be kind of flattened out. So you'll have some lines that are coming up and curving, but when they straighten out, they're going to kind of create a flat edge, and that will give us that distance, that depth, and that look of the foam that we're going for. So somewhere in here, and then as we get up here, there are little teeny tiny lines. You can't really see them very much at all. And these are, this is a little bit too big right there. So I'm gonna have to, I'll edit that here in a second. But I'm gonna go ahead and do my lines here. I don't want this to dry. So I'm gonna get my white, and I'm gonna get a little bit of the blue, the Phthalo blue, the light shade, which is just the white with Phthalo blue. So if you don't have it, just start with white and add just a touch of Phthalo blue to it. Okay, so I'm going to use this, and I'm just going to drag it across here, tap it over the top of that dark green that I did. There's just a little bit of like a wave there. So there's a little, and I'm going to go ahead and tap in a little bit more white right there at the bottom, and then just use this light blue to tap and drag very, very, very thin and faint. Keep them very neutral. It's kind of transparent because I've added a lot of water to this, so it's gonna kind of just fade out back here. Then as I get closer, I'm gonna use that brighter white. Really flatten out my brush and do some really thin zigzag lines. See how that works? Keeping them horizontal is the key. So just keeping them. And they kind of meet up and join the others in places too. So this one kind of meets up with this one up here. Like that. Okay. Yeah, this brush is a little bit big for this, but it's doing okay, so I'm just going to stick with it. The more paint I have on here, the less I have to press down, and then I'll get smaller sections. So if I add a little bit more paint to my brush, it'll allow me to kind of control it just a little bit better. So there we go. And go ahead and do kind of like behind my seashell here, so go right up to it. And these ones that are closer to us are getting a little bit more detail, so I'm going to go ahead and sort of tap in some places, and that will give me some stippling, which will be kind of, we'll be able to see that green through, and I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more green to these areas too. This darker green that I did. And if you want, if you get yours dark enough green, you won't have to do this part, but mine wasn't green enough. So it wasn't dark enough back here. So I just need to add some nice dark green in here. I'm kind of trying to go around my foam areas so I can kind of remember where they're supposed to be. And I'm going to go ahead and grab a little bit of yellow too, because there's some kind of like sand peeking through in places. I already had this like yellow in this background area here, so it's already in this. Just adding a little bit more in some places. And I'm going to get some really dark phthalo blue and burnt sienna here. Oh, no wonder I'm using the wrong color. It's not burnt sienna at all. It's quinacridone burnt orange. Shoot. No wonder it wasn't making a teal.
Yeah,
It was a rookie mistake.
I know. I was all over that. I mean, I was telling people in chat, "What's she doing?"
That's not.
No, not really.
It's okay. It was still making a pretty color. Just not the color I was expecting it to make. Okay, so I'm going right up underneath here for my shadow. get that darker green again and just kind of blend the two together a little bit. And we're putting our foam over the top of this. So this is just kind of our background color here. It doesn't have to be what we end up with. It's just going to be kind of our underneath layer, just to give our blue or our white foam some depth in the darkest areas of it. Okay, so there we go. And then right in here, there's a little bit more of the lighter blue color. So I'm going to get a little bit of ultramarine blue and burnt and phthalo blue and some glaze. I'm just going to kind of glaze right in this area, right up under where this foam's going to be. It's a little bit lighter. Okay, and then I'm going to get some of that zinc white with that color and just blend out that edge right there. This is going to be a reflection of our seashell in this area. So I just want that edge to be a little bit soft right here between that blue down here and that shadow. So I kind of let that dry a little bit. So I'm going to get a little bit more of that dark color, put it back in that area and just kind of blend off that edge. Just soften it up just a little bit. Okay, there we go. And then before I do anything else, I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle our area here. Get some of that shadow color and a little bit of burnt sienna and, or I'm sorry, burnt umber. I can't say my colors today. All over the place. How you doing, hun?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Your gloves even match your nails and your shirt and your painting.
Know. I'm all color coordinated today. So this is just the sand right here, and this is really just kind of showing up very faintly underneath our highlights on top. So we're going to glaze it back over this to kind of fade it out a little bit. But toothbrush gives us nice small dots to work with. I'm going to go ahead and get some of that blue. And you need to really thin this out quite a bit. If you don't have it thin enough, it won't come off your toothbrush. It'll just tap it on a paper towel a little bit before you go to, because that will get off that extra moisture. But yeah, if you don't have it thin enough, it won't come off your toothbrush at all. So if you're doing this and you're not getting paint off on your canvas, then you just need to thin out your paint some more. There we go. So do it enough that you really can't see an obvious pattern, and then I'm just going to tap over it with a paper towel, and it'll actually pick up the color, and as you tap it, it'll kind of add color back to it too. So you're blotting and you're also kind of adding color at the same time. All right, then up here, I'm not worried about it. It's going to all be painted out, but you can wipe off anything you don't want. All right, so that's good. I feel like probably need to be farther up here. I noticed, I think I brought my sky down too far, but it's fine. We're kind of smushed down here. It's okay.
I'll still hold your hand.
Okay, good. Alrighty, so I'm going to add just a tiny bit of yellow to this white here to start with, and I'm going to kind of map out some of our wave that's happening here. Just splashing up over our seashell. Seashells. Okay. Tap it. I'm going to leave some of that background color showing through. This is why we did that dark underneath. And then we'll put a white highlight on there too, but this is just going to be kind of a way to define this. Let's go ahead and put a little bit more white back in here too on our ocean, and then I can grab a little bit of white and just tap it really bright right along the top of where that wave is cresting up over. See how that gives us a little bit of contrast now, just having that lighter yellow in there to start with. Gives it some color to play against. And that's about all I'm going to do there. And then I'm going to do some kind of pulling in a little bit, just slightly, right in this area. There's a little bit of a roll to this wave that's kind of splashing up and out.
And which brush is that again?
This is the 3/8 inch Willow's blender, or blender. It's blender, it's called now. Getting a little bit of white with that green here. That's this color. Just adding it to that so that I've got a transition between that dark green and this color. Pick up a little bit more of that dark green if I need it. Something like that. Okay, so there's that a little bit. Let's go ahead and do it over here. Same colors. Again, a little bit of sweeping action because its motion is this way. And get the white in this light color. Yeah, this is a little drip that's kind of coming off right here. Down. And I'm not going to do too much on here for now because this is actually going to go over the top of our seashell a little bit in this area. But I'm just going to go ahead and do the water so that I've got it done. And again, this is very kind of stylized. We're not trying to go for ultra realism here. We're just kind of trying to get an idea, the feeling of what we're seeing. Scrunch your eyes up a little bit if you want to kind of get that. But we're wanting our brush strokes to show. This is much more painterly effect than some of the more kind of ultra realism type of stuff that I've done in the past. But this is how we did that other one, and I really liked it. It's kind of freeing just to kind of do bigger brush strokes, a little bit more bold, and just trying to get the gesture right of what we're seeing and not worry so much about all of the exact, every little fine detail. How are you doing, hon? Did I already ask you that? Probably.
Maybe, but I'm still doing good. Thanks for checking in on me.
Yeah, just checking in.
You doing okay? Do I seem like I'm dead over here or something?
Well, you're just being very quiet.
Okay. Well, I'm such a fast reader, so with all the chats coming through, I'm just like blazing through them.
Got it.
How are you doing?
Awesome.
Yeah?
Getting to do what I like to do.
Very nice.
So it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Watched an interesting video about burnout today. Not that I'm burning out, but just talked about how to avoid it, and said to find your motivation. Remember what your motivation is all the time, and have an infinite goal. So don't have a goal that's like make 300,000 like we just did, because then when you reach it, you're like, okay, well, what now? So have a goal that's like, I want to explore curiosity, or, I want to share what I've learned with people from all over the world. And that's kind of been my goal, over the years.
Eat 1 million Scotchmallows.
Exactly. Whatever your goal, I'm not going to berate it.
I won't burn out.
Hopefully. Is that the...
I'm just kind of giving different examples.
Different examples of...
Yeah, just, like a wider, view.
Well, for me, I've burned out before, and when I burned out, it was... I thought it was interesting when it talked about, that a lot of times you burn out when you've kind of lose your sense of why you're doing it, when the reward for what you're doing it is not as great as the effort that you're putting into it. So when your reward is, things like the 300,000 or a certain amount of money or whatever it is, then once you reach that, you lose the motivation to continue to do whatever it is you're doing. You kind of lose your focus and stuff. So I thought that was just interesting. I don't know how it relates to art exactly, except for, that I know I've found that when I'm just continuing to add these different whites here. I'm not doing anything new. So
sorry, before you go too much further, real quick, somebody has seen the secret message in the shell.
The secret message in the shell.
Yeah, several people have noticed it. Looks like you wrote your name in the shell. And it does. I can see the G and the E. The N,
I
G.
cannot see it at all. What are you talking about?
Right here. N, oops. N-G-E-L-A.
N? Is this an N?
Yeah. And then, no, that's a G.
That's a G?
Yeah.
It's not a G. That's an N. Oh, well, I'm not going to. What?
Yeah. No, it's N, G,
N?
E-L-A.
G? This is G?
The G came down.
E?
Yeah.
L?
It was a capital E. Well, now you've ruined your name.
Okay, I don't know. I was trying to help so you could see it. I love you. I obviously did not see it, so completely erased it.
That
You're
is
welcome.
a quality tutorials you get on this channel.
Who is looking. Okay, I can't remember what I was talking about, but anyhow.
You were talking about burnout.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've burned out before, and it was because I was repeating the thing. I was painting things that I didn't want to paint. So, obviously, the reward was not worth the money at that point. I was like, this is not fun. And, it's got to be fun. So, I would say, if you're doing that, I would suggest... Not saying don't do commissions, but I would just say make sure that you're doing commissions if you're painting, things for other people, doing things that motivate you or that you're excited about. Don't just do it for the money, because then what you enjoyed about it suddenly becomes work, and it is work. It's a job. For me it is. I don't know about for you. You're probably still in the hobby stage, hopefully. Maybe some of you not, but but it's just, I don't know. I've learned that, when people are like, oh, why don't you paint this or why don't you paint that? Or, you could make so much more money if you, edited your videos and did them really short videos and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I probably could get more subscribers and I could get, more views or maybe even make more money. But the cost to my mental health would be greater than what I want to, the effort that I want to put in for, like, the effort would not be worth the reward, because we're not doing this for money, and we never had been. I didn't start doing this for money. I didn't start doing it for any other reason besides just sharing my art with people and wanting to connect with other people. And that's what we've been able to do over the years. And that's, I think, why it's been so much fun for me, and why for Mark too. When Mark joined me, it's like a family thing now, and I get to spend time with my hubby, who's not, what's not to like about that. So it's pretty, I don't know. I thought it was interesting, and I've definitely seen that in my own life, Wheezy Waiter, that was the guy, Wheezy Waiter, the name of the video dude. He's got millions of subscribers, so I'm sure people. He doesn't need my shout out, but I'm talking about what I saw, so we'll shout him out, or what I heard. Shout it out, and that was a very, very loose interpretation of what he said.
That's footage I got from it.
Be sure when you're doing this, do not cover it too quickly, because once you get that white on there, you got no depth left. So if you cover all this with white, you got a big solid piece of white there, and it's not going to have any kind of depth. So just kind of slowly add your white on top and make sure that you're leaving some of these bubble holes. And we'll probably, I may go back in, I don't know, we'll see, but that's good for now. I'm going to leave it like that. But later on, if we want to get a little bit more fancy with it, we could add some little dots to those to even make them more obvious. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start with this brush. This will give me a little bit more control. This is a 2 Filbert, because there's, like, this area is really small up here. So, all right. And the first thing I'm going to do is just draw it, because I don't have a really good drawing of it yet. I'm going to get a little bit of yellow oxide, a little bit of burnt sienna here, and some white, and some water. And this is actually going to be pretty close to the color that I'm seeing anyway, so we're going to start out with that. And just start drawing this in a little bit. And if you want to, it might help to have a line. So I think my point needs to come down a little bit, because I think it needs to be pointing out to about right here on my canvas. So not quite to the corner, but like kind of right off this way. So if I mark a line from this all the way through the middle to this, that'll kind of help give me an anchor for what direction my seashell is pointing. Make sense?
Of course it does.
Good. Okay. So I'm going to start right in here, sort of where I'm seeing these darker, and I'm going to go ahead and get the burnt umber and just sort of do the bottom side with that. Like that across. And the lines are pointing down towards in this angle, so they're kind of slightly offset this way. And these are all going to line up too, so if you need to, you can, kind of mark those for yourself too, to make sure that these are all going in the same general direction as well. And they're not completely straight, but the line should be fairly similar all the way across. Okay, so right about there. So there's 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got an extra one in here. So we'll call that this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this is way too thick up in here. And to bring this in quite a bit, because that's my little one. So we'll do this one right here. This will be our line there. Okay, so I took that one out. Then of halfway to this, you're going to have your arch. So the arch comes before the shadow is kind of in the in-between between the sections. And then the so where it comes down is kind of where your dark part is. And this is darker than we're going to end up with, obviously, but I'm just trying to get it kind of drawn in right now. There we go. We're getting there. I'll have a traceable for this available, so you don't have to do this if you don't want to. You can just enjoy the painting and not have to worry about the drawing part. I'll have it all drawn out for you. Okay, so somewhere in there. Then this is a lot longer right here. Or like that. And then this big one right here will match up to that wave right there. So I think we did it just about right. And then it comes in, and then there's a little bump that comes out a little bit right here. And then, well, we got that line at least in the right spot. None of the other ones were, but well, this one was kind of in the right spot too. So this should kind of match up to generally across from where this is. There's a part of that sticking out right there. And then the bottom part of this seashell is covered up by the wave, so we're not seeing all of it back here. I'm going to go ahead and get some Quinacridone Burnt Orange and Ultramarine Blue here. That's actually the color we'll be using in this area for our shadow. So let's kind of shadow the knuckles that are sticking out here, whatever they are. Oh.
Did you say knuckles?
Knuckles. I don't know, that's what they look like to me. They're not probably not called that, but
I did not know snails had knuckles. Or is this a crab shell?
No, this is some sort of seashell, I think.
Yeah, but
it's not a crab.
But what lives in it? I mean, something grew it, right?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think it's just kind of a slug kind of thing. Like, well, it might be, like a snail kind of thing. I don't know. That's a good question.
So one, 2 pressing questions. What makes these shells? And 2, do snails have knuckles?
Yeah, don't know. I grabbed a little bit of the lighter color here just to add a little bit of highlight. Okay, getting a little bit lighter in some of the areas here. Getting that yellow.
You can do it.
Yellow oxide. That's it. You know, I was waiting, trying to figure out the name. My brain was not coming up with it.
You're like, hold on, I got to go back to the other side of my brain real quick.
Exactly. Let me go back.
I'll be right back.
Be right back. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it feels like. Like, okay, well, I know it's in here somewhere. Let me go look for it. I know this word is in here somewhere.
And as we get older, that trip takes longer.
Yes, it does. Longer and longer. Okay.
Sometimes you go into the room and you go, why did I come in here?
Exactly. Yes, exactly. That's it.
Okay, so the conch shell is the name, a common name given to a number of different medium to large size sea snail shells.
See? Okay, you're right. It was a snail.
Those of large snails whose shell has a high spire and noticeable siphonal canal. So they are snails.
That is. But
all right, but it doesn't say if they have knuckles or not.
Adding, well, whatever these are, these things sticking out. Just adding highlights across here and kind of creating those lines that you're seeing in there. I'm going to get some of the kind of yellowish color for the in-between areas. That's a little bit more light. It's actually got a little bit of pink too. I'm going to get a little bit of the pink with my yellow oxide and the unbleached titanium here for this part. Yeah, that's the color. So kind of in between, we'll have to get that a little bit more of that dark color right now, but I'm not gonna put it in yet because I'm just putting my highlight colors in here now. These little bit lighter pinks and stuff. It's much more yellow up at the top here. It's still a little too dark, but I'm just gonna let that dry because I've added so many colors to it at this point. It needs to dry. Fill this in with this kind of pinkish color. And then let's get this ultramarine blue with the quinacridone burnt orange, or you can just add a little bit of ultramarine blue to that color there, which is pretty close to the quinacridone burnt orange if it was added white in it. And we'll use that in our shadow areas.
So there were some pictures in my newsfeed the last couple of days of a glass octopus.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently they've been known since like the early 1900s, but like there was maybe like one other picture or so, and submarine and one of those unmanned submarines got a couple pictures and maybe a short video.
Oh, cool!
It is really cool looking.
Octopus are really fascinating animals. They're just, or creatures, or whatever they are. They are pretty cool. There's a documentary I watched last year called My Friend the Octopus that is definitely worth a watch. It was really fun. It was about a octopus that kind of befriended a scuba diver, and he got to film it doing things that they'd never filmed octopuses doing before, like covering itself in seashells to get away from a shark and stuff like that. Just like they're so smart and so adaptable and like Houdinis of the ocean. That's pretty cool.
There's a picture of
Holy moly. Wow, that's wild.
that.
That'd be cool to paint. I don't think I could get the rights to it, but
Probably not. Pretty cool.
okay, getting a little bit of that lighter blue, just adding a little bit of ultramarine blue with white here. Gonna use that in this area right here. It's a great shadow color. It's ultramarine blue and white. So it's still light, but it, because of the blue in it, it gives you that feeling of darkness or shadow. Okay, so I'm gonna work on this a little bit more, but we're getting closer, and this has got lots of layers, so I'm not gonna try to get it all in on one layer. I'm just going to continue to add colors until I get it to where I want it to be. So I'm going to use this blue down here. And kind of this half of the seashell. This is the Unbleached Titanium. Just kind of marking in sort of where I'm seeing these highlight lines coming through. And then using that ultramarine blue with a little bit of the burnt orange right up under here. This area is fairly dark. And if you watch the other video that we did the seashell very similar to this as far as the kind of just very loose brush strokes and things. So try to keep it kind of in that same, if you're going to paint them together as a pair, if not, it doesn't really matter. But just kind of keep an eye on it as you go. I don't have mine anymore because I think we sold it. I'm not sure. I don't think I have it anymore. Because I was going to pull it out, but then I thought, I think I sold it. So, but I really liked that one. That was one of my favorite ones that I did last year. Or earlier this year. I guess it wasn't last year. This spring. Just really like how it turned out. And it was fun to paint. And when you've got over 500 paintings, finding things that are new and fun to paint are really important. So that's why we're doing it again, because it was fun. I enjoyed it. It wasn't super stressful. It's a great Tuesday night one because it doesn't take a whole lot of time. It's like a win-win.
So, one of our regular fans from north of the border,
Yeah.
not going to name any names, but it rhymes with Dave,
Uh-huh.
wants to know if this is a he shell or a she shell.
We were just talking about this, Dave. Like, what other art channel out there you go for art and dad jokes?
And this is what brings
You're
all
welcome.
the people.
That's right. Come for the art, stay for the dad jokes. You get
And pay $10 not to listen to Mark.
getting unbleached titanium. I'm sorry, like a little bit of white, a little bit of yellow, and a little bit of the quinacridone burnt orange. You could use the magenta too. Either doesn't matter, right? We're just making an orange here. Either one or both. You can do it with both colors if you want. Just making it orangey. That's just gonna be more of our color up in here. Let me see, I need it darker. Need it darker in my shadows. Let's get a burnt sienna, that'll help. Okay, so let's just establish some of our little points. This is good color. It's a little bit bright, but we're kind of exaggerating these colors anyway, so let's go ahead and use it in here. So this will be good. It'll tie in that part to this part. I'll have this color in a couple of places. Whenever you introduce a new color like this, it's kind of odd and, you know, not anywhere else. It's good to kind of add it in a couple places in your painting. It gives it continuity. Okay, there we go. So got it up there, got some down here, and it's going to need to be quite a bit darker in here. So I'm going to get the magenta and the burnt orange, and let's get a little bit of ultramarine blue too. Just a little bit on the purple side. Yeah, there we go. We're going to make it nice and dark right in here. This is the inside of our thing. Actually, I missed the little membrane that's kind of in there too, so I'll have to put that in. This is not as far out. But let's go ahead and use this color on the underside of our shell right here. Why not? Again. And then I'm going to get some of this darker color that was our shadow color here, add it to it and put it over top so it's just fading that out. Right there. Okay. Some of that lighter yellow orange right in here. And up in here. And then right in here. That inner membrane thing that I missed. Kind of comes down like that. Okay. Get some of the yellow Oxide, Cadmium Yellow, or Yellow Oxide, and Unbleached Titanium. Okay, let's let that dry. Let me go ahead and bring that out a little bit more. Okay. And then let's just go ahead and kind of put some of our highlights in here. These lines. Just kind of pay attention to what you're seeing in the photograph. They kind of curve and follow the edge of what's happening above them. So right here, this line just kind of follows itself all the way down. There we go. And then we'll darken up these shadows, these colors down here. You know, as they come around, they're not going to be this dark, or that bright, I should say. So these. All right. There, I like the colors in it. I think the drawing's okay. I think that the problem I'm seeing is that this line needs to come down a little bit right here. Just going to get a little bit of yellow oxide here, and I'm going to bring this down, because this line is, if you follow these, it's kind of needs to come down more right here. And then come out right there. And get some bright white here just at the very top of the shell. On the inside of where those little knuckles are, just on the top side where the light's hitting them. So just right there we go.
Somebody would like to know if the reflection will have less detail than the
Yes,
shell.
for sure. Yeah. Speaking of, let's go ahead and do that. Well, I've got these colors still wet, because otherwise I'm going to lose them and they'll dry out on me. So I'm going to add a little bit of this color to the reflection color, which is this right here. I'm just going to like that, and then get a little bit of the highlight color and do it along the edge here, like that. This is my unbleached titanium here. I'm just going to use this And it's got some of this, all these colors in here, so it's not just Unbleached Titanium, and I have other colors in my brush. And if it's coming on too dark, you can always add glaze. I'm going to add a little bit of the Zinc White because it's transparent, so it'll help kind of make that color a little bit more neutral. And it's not as high up as my reference photo here, so I don't have as much showing down here. But I think that's good. Just getting close. And again, kind of keeping it slightly horizontal, that helps because that water is kind of pulling the light that way. I think that's good enough. I'm not going to do much more to that. I may get maybe a little bit brighter white right here, just right up underneath. I'm going to go ahead and use this Zinc White in the inside of my seashell where I'm seeing the highlights. It's a softer way of highlighting, so it'll kind of highlight, but it'll be a lot softer color. And then I'm going to get the white and Unbleached Titanium, maybe a little bit of this pink color, but mostly white. I'm going to use it at the top of my seashell here. I think it needs to come out even more. Right there. Get a little bit of cadmium, or I can't say that word. Yellow oxide. That's the word of the night. That's hiding from me. Every time I turn my back, it goes. Okay, so like that, it tucks in right there. So go ahead and make sure that it comes all the way in and over this part. That's this little lip part right here, the mouth. Got mouth and knuckles. There we go. And let's use this. This brush is wider. It's going to create like larger areas, but it's going to kind of blend over what we've already done. So it's going to kind of almost like merge some of these colors a little bit. I like it. And now I don't have a lot of it on my brush, so now I'm using it in the darker areas. I wouldn't use this full strength in the lighter, in the darker areas earlier, but now that I've kind of used up what's on my brush, now I'm just kind of dry brushing lightly over the top of some of those darker areas with that color. Okay, I like it. Let's go ahead and I'm going to grab some of the yellow oxide and I really like this, so I'm going to go ahead and do some like that down here in a couple places, just to add some of that yellow oxide color. Kind of on the shadow areas. And in there. Get a little bit of burnt umber. You can see that I'm really using color more than than my neutrals for this, a lot of this. You know, I'm getting a lot of really, and by using these blues and pinks and corals and yellows, it's really creating a much prettier scene, I think. And really, probably, if you looked at this in person, probably you would see some of these colors. You know, the photograph kind of dulls the colors sometimes, unless it's photoshopped. But I find that with my paintings too. So I'm just doing this darker color here. This is that burnt orange and ultramarine blue color. But I find that with my paintings too. You know, sometimes I'll take a picture of my paintings and it'll be like, what the heck? You know, where'd all the color go? So we're just playing with the color a little bit here, adding it in, taking some artistic license with it. I'm just going to go along this whole side here and add a little bit of the darker color. A few streaks of it.
So it has been looked up, and they are called axial ribs,
well,
also known as knuckles.
Axial ribs. Well, ribs, that makes sense. I could call them ribs. Get a little bit of burnt orange, or ultramarine blue, not burnt orange. I don't know. God help, my brain is not working right now. I am well into art brain.
Good luck if you're a first-time painter.
Art brain is talking for us right now. So we're lucky we came out with knuckles and not ribby pointy things. Or some other made up word.
So at the bottom there's the snail hole. I don't know if I can say that on the internet.
Some yellow to the burnt orange and ultramarine blue mixture here. The snail hole. Yeah. Yeah. Don't get me censored. I want a little bit more bright color too, so I'm gonna get a little bit of the Quinacridone Magenta here and just add that back in right there. Okay, pretty happy with this for the most part. Let's go ahead and add just a little bit of this color down here. I'm gonna just use my glaze with what I've got on my brush and just kind of glaze a little bit of this. Down here too. Get some of that pink color there. And then let's go ahead and add some more white. So now we can look at our reference photo. At this point, I'm going to look and check and see, okay, so my highlights in this area are probably not bright enough along here. And then my water is much brighter in my photograph too. So I'm going to go ahead and add more water highlights. And I think I'm going to go back to this brush instead of the whatever it was I was using, that one. I'm going to use this to actually kind of draw in little round bits and leave little pockets of the darker color showing. So there's like little, do you see that? Little foam bits that are creating circles. So I'm just going to kind of do little interlocking circles here. Just not really taking too much time with it, but just kind of letting the tip of the brush sort of create little random circle-like things. Now, isn't that cool? Look at how we just did that. That looks like a bubble. Very cool. It works. Taking zero time to do this, just and going over the top of our seashell a little bit. So I'm just going to tone that down just a little bit. Don't want it so bright. But right here, there's a big old circle. Couple. Fun. Fun, fun, fun. This is the best part of the painting for me. It's when it starts to look like what I want it to look like.
Which brush is that?
This is the 4 Filbert that we were using at the very beginning.
In the Summit series?
Yes. No, Aspen.
No, Aspen. Gosh, that was so close. 4. Okay, let's start over again. Which brush are you using?
There were 2 Filbert in the Aspen series.
Thank you.
And I'm getting a little bit fussy with this, so I don't want to go much more than that because I don't want it too much. I am going to add a little bit of white on top of some of these. And this does a really good job of just kind of highlighting what we've already got going on here, adding a little bit more detail, and really bringing out the colors. Make sure that you've got a good amount of this dark green in here. Okay, I'm happy with that. Let's go ahead and put a little bit over here. Same deal, kind of circle-y dealies. Just using the tip of the brush, let it create little circles, very small. Bright white. Otherwise, it's just not going to show up. But still not covering everything. Don't cover it all up. Leave lots of that background showing. Connect these circles so they're not just sitting out by themselves too. They should all be mushed together. You really only should like see a circle in like 1 or 2 places, you know, in this whole thing. So, you know, a couple here and there, and then, you know, move on, and don't fill up the whole area with a bunch of circles. Just dabs and little rounded bits. And yeah, I'm just tapping. Oh, we're doing good for time. We're almost done. Okay, so let's go ahead and use this white with the unbleached titanium here to do our last little bits of highlights on our seashells. Or your it shell, I guess, if you're non-binary. So no, Mom, Mark's like, don't even go there. What? No. Okay, sorry.
That's okay. No. So while I was out drawing your painting, you talked about Patreon, right?
I did.
All right, good.
Pink, like really light pink here with a magenta.
And we have several first-time watchers, so just let everybody know that if you click the little arrow below the video or show more, it will open up a list of all the paints used and supplies and links to Amazon and Blick and also the brush guys. There's a 5% off code Enzo Fine Art. And I noticed that your your canvas size is not correct in the
Oh, it isn't?
thing right now.
Okay, what does it say?
It says 9x12
Okay.
canvas board, so
Ah,
we'll
okay.
get that
I'll fix
updated.
that. Yes. Adding some bright pink here. All these different colors, just all making happy.
Okay, we have a question here.
Mm-hmm.
Says when you're doing a seascape or something that you're painting, the sky and land,
Mm-hmm.
I know you shouldn't paint the canvas right to the middle, but how far off the middle do you need to go?
I'm not really sure what the question means. I'm sorry.
Yeah. At first I was thinking, like where the sky and the land
The horizon
meet,
line?
the horizon line, but we'll make
On
sure
your
that the
third
clear-
is really the one of the better, easier ways of doing it. Just find your third and then do it there. So
Okay.
get a little bit of that color from the water reflected up into the inside of the shell. And then I'm gonna get a little bit of the glaze in some of my cobalt teal here and just glaze over some of the water in a couple places. I need this to be out here. So you can see how you really almost have to do this white a few times because it kind of absorbs into your canvas. So just tapping now with the white.
Okay, so yeah, the third was the
Yeah. The third is the best.
kind of a
Kinda easy.
standard in
Right,
photo
right.
taking the stuff.
Yeah.
Unless you're Angela taking a picture of your boyfriend to send to his parents, then cut the head off completely and get the flowers, in frame. So the head is in the negative third, upper third.
I'm scraping in some random flour since I pulled it down a little far here, so I'm not even gonna comment on that. I'm just gonna keep on talking about other stuff here. La la la. I can't hear you. Okay, so getting that dark turquoise now, and my glaze. This is that Phthalo blue and burnt sienna this time, like I intended the first time, but didn't. I'm gonna get the smaller brush, I think, or well, actually, I'm gonna get my angle brush because then I can get down into these spots here. 3/8 inch angle and my dark turquoise teal here with the Phthalo blue and burnt sienna. I'm going to really darken up. This whole area right here. Give it a really good shadow. Really dark. And then right along that water line, I'm going to thin out my paint just a little bit and do that dark right up underneath my water line too. I already kind of did it before I painted, but I kind of got it in the wrong spot, so I just had to move it a little bit there. And I can use a little bit of this in my... Blend it out a little bit if I need to. This needs to have some shadow right over here. There we go. And then we can use it in my surf. So where where I've got those little dots where we made circles, you can kind of reinforce the circles, not enforce. And make them more obvious. There we go. Yeah, the drawing's not perfect, but I see issues with the drawing, but I think it's close enough, so I'm happy with it. I'm gonna sign it and we'll be done. I'm gonna use my. Actually, one last thing I see. I'm just gonna do this really quick. This is the Unbleached Titanium, a little bit of that gold, yellow, orange color. I'm gonna use it right along this highlight right here. There's just a little bit of bright highlight right along that edge there.
And no parting splatters?
Nah.
Okay, I was wondering because you had your gloves on the whole time, so it wasn't
Did
sure.
I? Oh, well, I just ended up not taking them back off.
People who tuned in late were wondering what was going on. I was saying that you didn't want to leave any fingerprints behind.
No, but you could splatter with white if you wanted to. I think we did with the last one. I think we splattered some white.
But this doesn't really have a splattery effect.
Right, it's not as
It's a more
rough
gentle
surf.
wave.
Right. So it doesn't need the little splatters, but you could totally add them if you want, Dave. All right. Thanks, guys, so much for hanging out with us. I'm going to zoom out, hon. We're cut off the top and bottom there. There we go.
Oh, I have to zoom out because I'm cutting off the top. Okay. There we are.
Zoom out a little bit more. There we go. You
Like
can
my
see the whole thing.
headshot.
Very good. Zoom in a little. But yeah, I like it. So look at this, look at your reference photo, kind of check out your values and everything. I think I probably could, looking at it again, do again another like brighter highlight along the top in a couple places. So I can see that my reference photo has brighter highlights through some of these areas. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick.
Somebody came in earlier and asked if we had an idea about how much longer it would be. And one of your fans said about 5 minutes after she signs it.
Hey, now, wait a minute. That's a little entirely too accurate. 5 minutes after I sign it. It's awesome. It's true. So true. And honestly, normally I would never finish a painting and walk away and not, in like one setting. I mean, that very rarely in my studio would I do that. So this is a very odd situation here, painting it live for you guys and then, having it finished, quote unquote, because there's a lot of things that you notice, after the fact. And when you're sitting here with a painting for a couple hours, sometimes things just, you kind of get blind to certain things that are happening in it. And so you will see it as soon as like this bonus video that we just did with the flowers, right after we stopped, I noticed something that I missed, and I just went ahead and added it, but off camera, but because it was important, it was like a leaf that I totally forgot to paint. So it happens, so yeah, I say I'm done, but you can really, a lot of times it's good to just kind of set your painting where you can look at it for a couple of days and see if there's anything else you want to change on it. So like right there, I'm gonna darken up right up underneath that a little bit. All right, let's stop there. Yay. Thanks, guys. That's a little dark. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave a thumbs up if you did. If you paint along with me, you can share it with me on social media. I've got all kinds of links down in the description for where my Facebook group and different places where you can share with me. I really enjoy getting to see what your versions of it. And I'm going to use some dark right here, this part. And yeah, I think that's it. For real now. We'll stop. For real. For real. There's things that I could change about the drawing, but I'm not going to. All right, we're done. No, I'm not done, actually. I'm not done. Hold on.
I'm not going anywhere.
I know. Hold on. Very quickly.
But wait, there's more.
There's more.
To the last
Right
200 viewers, we'll get a bonus.
They'll see the real finished painting. For real. Okay, there we go. And the lines were going in the wrong direction down here. They kind of curve in and down and then back out. All right, we'll stop. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.